So I would imagine this skills section where I might upload my project rubric, and then I can actually attach on students' work where they met certain criteria. That's pretty cool. That's as individualized instruction we could give students based on their own work. And then, as I've already alluded to with the journal, you have the blog area where you can actually create this public website to showcase student work. You can have parents involved here. You can have students commenting. And when we start talking as well about personalized learning, the concept of this global connection and this global knowledge comes into play. Students can actually connect with other students from around the world. Imagine developing a project where you're working with a teacher across the country and you have your students doing some interdisciplinary real world work. This app is a great free, again, this is a free option to share with such a wide audience. So how do you create an account? It's easy and free. And now I'm going to navigate out of this this PowerPoint just to show you very quickly what the website looks like. So you go to this web address right up here, and you can click sign up free. And I've already established an account, but it's really easy. Just choose that you're a teacher. Teacher sign up with Google. I'm going to choose my teaching email address, and then you're in. I've already created just some sample students, but when you log in, it'll prompt you immediately to create your class name, create your grade level, create your students, get your student codes, and then you can start navigating through the various parts, which are some of the screen shots that I showed you. This button right here is really cool. It allows you to organize your work by class. So if you have multiple classes, here it is. There's a way for you to still stay organized, keep those classes separate, allow certain groups of kids to communicate, keeping others from communicating. Whatever the parameters of your project are, this app has been so well designed to support what you already do every day in your classroom. And I think that that's what makes this technology for personalized learning different from others, is that you don't have to reinvent what you're doing. It's just a matter of taking what you're doing and allow students to produce work to demonstrate what you're asking them to demonstrate. And it gives them a sense of ownership and pride over their work. So I'm going to click out of here. So what are some of the pros and cons of this website? Well, the pros, first, it's a free version with limited application uses, but those limited application uses are pretty big. I still think you have a lot of options, even for a free version. Like I said before, 92% of teachers who use this said that they saw an increase in parental involvement. There's increased student participation and attendance. It's mobile friendly. It works on iOS, Android, Kindle, Chromebooks. It's mobile friendly, just on your cell phones, desktops. So there's a large amount of technology that can support this app. It's easily adaptable to all grade levels. I've shown you that you can choose your grade level, and that activity library actually shows you activities that relate to that grade level. Something that I think is cool is that multiple teachers can participate. So usually in younger grades, maybe you have a team of teachers teaching a variety of subjects. You can now team teach on an interdisciplinary project, and each teacher be responsible for various components. So it really allows collaboration, not on the level of just students, but also within teachers. And then the company also produced a statistic stating that 95% of teachers said that this app allowed students to develop certain 21st century skills, which again is something that's heavily addressed in Common Core standards and North Carolina Essential Standards. So this app really does get to the root of what we want our students to know. Of course, with pros, there are always cons. If you want the full use, so that skills section, some more activities, you have a limited access to activities, it's $120. But when you think about that in comparison to what you're getting, that's really not a bad price. It does rely on internet access. So if you have a day where you don't have internet, sure, you'll have to have some alternative for students to complete. But that does bring me to the point of this app is not your sole delivery or instruction delivery. As you saw in the video, teachers also still have students doing paper pencil activities. It's not eliminating what we're doing. It's just giving students an option, and it's giving them a chance to develop these skills. Some teachers have suggested that if you're not a one-to-one school, this doesn't really work. Well, if you share a laptop cart, if you have access to a computer lab, if you have iPads in your school, if students have mobile devices, there are ways around this. And again, you don't have to use it every day. You adapt it to what's best for your classroom, for your content. And that's what makes this emerging technology so useful, is that it's so adaptable. And then I say one of the fourth cons, we've all heard this. We go from using an app like this and addressing personalized learning makes us move from the sage on the stage to the guide on the side. And for many of us, that's a hard thing to do, to let go of that control. But again, as you saw in the video and from my personal experience, if you give children the opportunity to take control of their learning, they will take it and run with it. And you will be so surprised by the type of work that they can produce. So here's just a sample lesson plan that I use every day, and I adapted it to how I would put it into this app. So for my biology kids, when I introduce the cells unit, we talk about cell organelles, things like mitochondria, nucleus. So there's a handout here for organelle wars, is what I call it. And this is just a handout that breaks down some of the various parts. The idea is that they will choose a cell organelle, and they have to be elected as the most important organelle. They have to create campaign posters, send out invitations for people to come watch speeches, do campaign flyers. They do mudslinging, where they have to do smear campaigns against other organelles. And then they actually do speeches. So when I thought about how I could adapt this into the app, I decided that groups could create campaign posters and share on the journal homepage. That allows me to give individual group feedback, individual student feedback before making it public. I can then take those campaign posters, move them to the blog page, and allow mudslinging to start happening. So one of the criteria is that they have to smear other campaigns. The blog is a great way to do that. And again, all posts have to be verified. So I can make sure that students aren't doing something or saying something inappropriate. And I can make sure that all comments are geared towards my learning outcomes that I want students to demonstrate. Again, also, if you were paying for this, you would have access to the skills section, where you could start tagging on skills as students complete the project. So you can grade these projects while they're still being completed. That takes off the load of grading at the end that many of us often feel the pressure. Groups could also record their 5-minute presentations and post in the journal. Again, teachers could watch it, ensure that it's appropriate, that it addresses the parts that we want, put that in the blog, and now we can allow more class discussions, more commenting. We can invite parents and other teachers and other students in. So if parents and teachers can't make it to the campaign speeches, they can go on this app and still see it. They can still be a part of it. You can allow the voting of whoever the best campaign was. You can put that on the activities page and allow students to complete their ballot online. So all of the work that students are completing is in one place for you, one digital place. Imagining just closing your laptop, taking it home, and you have all of your students' work available. And I've said this a couple of times, but parental involvement is very important with personalized learning. A lot of parents are busy. A lot of guardians are busy. They can still quickly comment. Maybe they can watch the video, the 5-minute speech, and do a voice recording and tell their son, Joe, for example, how great he did. So parents can really stay up to date. And this is just one example of a lesson that I do this activity every year. I have changed nothing. The only difference is that I have to now click a few buttons. And it actually takes most of the workload off of me and puts it on my students. My students are now responsible for this project. So it's important, again, that I don't want people feeling like you have to create something new. Take what you already have and make it work for this app. These are just some of the websites that I use to get some of the information. Here's the web link to the Seesaw app if you're interested in navigating it some more. And before I end this professional development, I would like to navigate one more time that activities library with you. So going to this activities library, you can scroll down over here in the bottom right and click activity library. And there are several different options there. So remembering something new, use the drawing and label tools to help remember a new concept. It breaks down how to use these instructions. It also gives you a verbal. So what's really cool about this as well is if, let's say, for example, you have a lot of ESL students in your classroom, we all know that some of the best practices is providing written and oral instructions. This is done for you. You can do this in your app. Reflect on a quotation, choose a motivational word, compare and contrast. These are all note-taking. There's a method for students to take their notes. Something important with personalized learning that isn't always explicitly addressed, but would be student goals. What are your goals for this project? What are some of your goals outside of the project? This is a really great way for students to connect with teachers and students to connect, where normal time constraints limit that. There's an option for an exit ticket. I use an exit ticket almost every day. It would make my life so much easier to have a digital copy of these exit tickets. I could have students decide if they want to type out their response, or for my ESL students, they could verbalize their response. There's so many different options and so many different ways that I can gear learning to my specific students using this emerging technology here. So that is just the activity library that has some really great resources when you're getting started. So that is what I have for you for Seesaw. Again, I just want to reiterate that Seesaw is not recreating your classroom. It's taking what you know is best for your students to demonstrate your content knowledge and giving them some ownership over their work and allowing them to be proud and to share the work that they've accomplished in your class. I hope this helps, and hopefully you take some time to consider how you can take one lesson plan that you do and use this app to better support your learning outcomes. Over time, you can eventually establish whole units or maybe an entire course. But there are resources on this new emerging technology available. There's several YouTube videos. So navigate around a little bit as you start designing and implementing your projects. My name is Gary Wright. Hopefully this helped give you a little bit of context into personalized learning and this really